Hi and welcome. I found a video I wanted to share with you. There was a man a few years ago who decided to take a camera, go out on the streets and ask random strangers a question. Are people born gay or do they choose to be gay? I thought the answers were pretty interesting and his argument was pretty compelling.
Do you guys mind if we ask you a few quick questions? Yeah. All right. Do you think people are born gay or choose to be gay?
Gee, that's a good question. I'm glad the research is still going, but I think probably it is a natural genetic predisposition.
It depends on what they grow up finding out. I think it's a choice later in life, but it depends on upbringing.
I don't think they choose to be gay.
So you think they're born gay?
Probably so, yes.
I just wonder if animals choose their sexuality. I don't think they choose. I don't think humans choose.
I think they choose to be gay. I don't think they're born that way.
Do you mind if we ask you a few quick questions? Do you think people are born gay or choose to be gay?
Say that again. There are some of both.
Have you talked to anyone about it?
Sure, and they say there's differences in their brains.
I think it's a matter of choice.
When did you choose to be straight?
Well, that's a good question, too.
When did you choose to be straight? That's a good call, man. I didn't choose to be.
Good question. I just kind of came along that way.
I never chose. That's just I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question.
When did I choose? I don't know if it was a choice for me. I just was born that way.
Do you think it's the same for gay people?
I think so, probably. Yeah, I do.
I never thought about it. I really didn't. I am who I am.
Do you think it's the same for gay people?
Maybe. Maybe that's true.
So what do you think? Are people born gay or do they choose to be gay? And don't tell me what you believe or what some book tells you. What do you know? Do you know any gay people? How are they? Are they as normal as everybody else? Do we want the very same things you want? Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness? That's what's really important. A little more recently, the state of California decided that teaching their kids about history in their public schools should include the contributions of the LGBT community. But of course, the right had a few things to say about it.
Moving over to the West Coast, California's legislature has sent a bill to Democratic Governor Jerry Brown that would make it the first state mandating gay history in public schools curriculum. It adds lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people to the list of groups that must be included in social studies lessons. It also prohibits material that reflects adversely on gays. One opponent calls it sexual brainwashing.
For a segment tonight, a California senator is proposing a new law in that state that would force schools to teach children about gay icons, even as Jimmy Carter is saying this.
Well, I think the entire population of America has come tremendous strides forward in dealing with the issue of gays. And I would say that the answer is yes. I don't know about next election, but I think in the near future.
If you missed that, there was an internet thing, and the question posed was, will there be a gay president anytime soon? And Mr. Carter thinks it will be. Here now, the Culture Warriors from Sanford, Connecticut, Fox and Friends co-anchor Gretchen Carlson, here in the studio, Fox News contributor Margaret Hoover. All right, Hoover, what disturbs me here is that under the guise of anti-bullying, which absolutely you have to have. I mean, kids who are effeminate, boys who are effeminate, get worked over, and we've got to protect them. We, the public, teachers, everybody. We all understand it. But now they're saying, you know what? We got to identify people who are homosexuals to school children, and we got to talk about that. No, Hoover.
It's not just that, Bill. They're doing three things to the law in California. This is what it proposes. It proposes to include the role and contributions of LGBT Americans in educational materials, their historical value, what they've contributed. It adds them as a under-respected cultural and ethnic group that is among the many that are already listed in the California educational requirements. And it does one other thing. It adds sexual orientation to the state's existing anti-discrimination protections.
Okay, I don't mind a protection on that, but I don't want a third or fourth grader say, well, gay, what does that mean? I don't think that should be introduced. What say you, Carlson?
I'm all for honoring the accomplishments of gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people, which is what that stands for. But let's face it, I'm with you on this, O'Reilly. Why do we need to put it in the textbooks? Because here's the problem that I have with it. I'm not so sure that putting it in the textbooks and honoring these people leads to less bullying. Where's the research that shows that? My daughter has been bullied at school, so
yeah, there isn't any
what would be the research
but
that would
it's
stop
a
that?
building
Well,
up of tolerance. That's what they're trying to say. If you make it tolerant, if you say, well, here's a hero who is gay, then people might not bully. It's theoretical. Go ahead.
Here's the problem I have with it. The problem, because you know I'm in favor of gay rights. The problem I have with it is that the educational movement in the state of California for the last 30 years has been hijacked by special interests trying to push their agenda.
That's exactly
and,
what it is.
And the educational curriculum fight has become a proxy war for the culture wars that adults are fighting out in the classroom.
This is
and
about,
this isn't about.
Right.
Here's the thing. The reality is, in America, our story is about expanding individual liberties and freedoms to previously disenfranchised groups of minorities. So the story of gay rights and the gay rights movement is part of the American story.
Stop.
However,
No.
I would not put.
Yeah, but Bill,
Hold it, stop. This isn't a telephone here. I have a very short period of time. This isn't, if somebody was gay, all right, and that played into their role in history, I have no problem with that. If Cochise were gay and he got shot in the head because he was on a date, okay, all right? But this doesn't have anything to do with history. So I resent this. Now, I'm going to tell the audience there was a gay president already, Jimmy Carter. I'm not going to tell you who it is, you should know. But that's true. Absolutely true. All right, now,
I found two other reports on the gay history controversy, one by a San Diego station and another from Channel 1, which is a network that broadcasts directly to high school students in their classrooms around the country.
Joining us, I'm Jim Patton. The required study of gay history in California public schools is getting support tonight from the state Senate. In a 23-14 vote, the lawmakers want to make gay history part of the social studies curriculum. Our Antonio Castellan joins us live at San Diego School District headquarters with reaction. Antonio?
Jim, the San Diego Unified School District would have to change their curriculum in the 2013-14 school year. Senate Bill 48 is now headed off to the Assembly. If the Assembly passes the measure, then the governor would have to sign off on it. If this were to be implemented, California would be the first state to implement gay history in their classrooms. Questions on the history of Harvey Milk, a well-known gay activist, could be showing up on public school pop quizzes across the state.
Fair-minded Californians across the state are excited.
Sean Travers with the San Diego LGBT sees Senate Bill 48's passage as an important step in education.
It's really important that we represent all of California, and that includes the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community, our people, and our history.
No way. Parent Chris Espinosa doesn't see the teaching of gay history idea.
I just think that from the biblical standpoint that God made female and male. He made Adam and Eve. He didn't make, Adam and Steve.
Republican State Senator Doug LaMalfa of Butte opposes the bill, releasing the following statement. I'm deeply troubled at a very, very early age when many of us are teaching abstinence. What is sexuality?
The passage of this bill is going to help create safer schools and reduce bullying, because when we know more about the students, our peers, our community.
Espinosa has a message for his children if gay history is taught in their schools.
They're teaching that, it's wrong. Don't believe it.
We were not able to reach the San Diego Unified School District for comment. The school districts have final say what grade levels will be taught gay history and what that history will cover. Reporting live from University Heights, Antonio Castellan, San Diego 6 News.
Do you know who Bayard Rustin was? How about Harvey Milk?
Not at all. Not at all.
No.
No.
No, I'm sorry.
Well, they're both key names in gay history, and some California lawmakers want students to start learning more about them.
I think it would be a good idea to get people informed and stuff.
I don't really think it's a good idea because it's not going to help that much.
A bill being considered by California lawmakers would require students to learn about gay and lesbian history in their social studies classes.
I think it would be great. I think I would want to learn about it. I'd say go for it.
I don't know. I'd feel indifferent about it.
California public schools are required to teach about different cultures. For example, students now learn about African American and Mexican American cultures. And if the bill becomes law, school textbooks would add LGBT history. LGBT stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. The bill's supporters say it'll help stop the rise of anti-gay bullying. According to the National Youth Association, 9 out of 10 LGBT students report being harassed or bullied in school. By learning about the achievements and contributions of gay and lesbian Americans, some lawmakers hope students will be less likely to participate in anti-gay bullying.
Yeah, like I guess a lot of people don't have a lot of tolerance for stuff. Maybe it's like the way that they were raised, but it'll help them.
It'll probably help other people understand them better. It depends on the school. It depends on the kids. It depends on a lot of things.
But those opposed to the proposal say that teachers already have too many things they're required to teach, and adding this would take away from more important topics. And many say it's not the school's role to teach about sexuality.
It's a sexual thing. These are young kids, and to me, it's not okay.
While other parents say anything to stop anti-gay bullying is a good thing.
I don't have any problem with it.
Some teens we talk to agree.
I accept everybody for who they are, but like I think for me, like I would just like know more, and like it would just add to my knowledge of like a lot of stuff.
California could very soon become the only state in the union to require LGBT history to be included in school books. Lawmakers approved a bill requiring students to learn about the contributions that lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender Americans have made to society. And not surprisingly, conservative and religious organizations are voicing their opposition to that bill. State Senator Mark Leno is a Democrat from the San Francisco area and the man who introduced that bill, and he joins us today. Sir, good to have you on with us. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Thomas. Good to be with you.
You've said prior that excluding LGBT Americans from textbooks is effectively selectively censoring history. Explain what you mean by that.
Sure. In fact, we are currently censoring a very important chapter of civil rights history from our school books and our curriculum. We already in state code require that the contributions and role of African Americans, Mexican Americans, Asian Americans, European Americans, Native Americans already be included in our curriculum. All this bill does is add LGBT Americans. And teaching the broad diversity of the human experience can only be beneficial to students. Not only beneficial to the LGBT students who will feel greater self-esteem and self-respect, but also for the straight student who senses and recognizes that the kid at the next desk seems different, a little doesn't understand what that difference is, but needs to know that that student is a part of a community historically demonized and discriminated against, and a community which has been fighting recently successfully for its civil rights, full inclusion in society, and treated equally under the law. That's an important chapter of history for kids to better understand who they are.
There are certain people, opponents to your bill of this said legislature, saying that you shouldn't micromanage school instruction. What's your reaction to that opinion? Because you have to imagine that there's going to be certain pushback from people who would disagree with doing something like this.
We recognize that this might be a sensitive subject for some folks, but again, we already include all of these different chapters. We rightfully require that students learn that there was an African American man who, by the name of Dr. Martin Luther King, who bravely fought for everyone's civil rights and was assassinated for his efforts. But there was also a gay American man by the name of Harvey Milk, who also bravely fought for everyone's civil rights and was also assassinated for his efforts. It makes no sense that we would teach one and not the other. And again, in the context of an ever-growing and serious phenomenon of brutal bullying on school campuses, which have led to multiple suicides of 12 and 13-year-old kids who can't take the pain anymore, that this is important that we better inform our students. In fact, in Ventura County, California, just 2 years ago, there was a 12-year-old boy in his 6th grade class shot dead by a fellow 12-year-old, and when the teacher asked the assailant, "Why did you do this?" he said that his classmate was too girly. We're failing our students when they think that because someone is different from how they see the world, that that person is okay to murder. We need to better educate our students of the fact of the differences among us.
The Governor Brown is going to sign this?
You know, I make a habit of not speaking for the governor, but I'm hopeful he will receive it with an open mind and an open heart.
All right. Well, we will continue to follow this story. State Senator Mark Leno, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Thomas. You bet.
Okay, this next video had me confused. And it's a discussion I know we need to have, and we've had it in society a long time. It discusses the importance of gender and gender roles. Back in January, there were a couple in Canada who had a child. It's their third child. This child, they decided they would not reveal the child's gender to anybody, not even the child's grandparents. Their own parents don't even know what this child's gender is. They're trying to raise this child free of gender stereotypes and gender bias. They have two other children, one, I believe it's one male and one female, but they both have very gender neutral names. They're very specific about that. ABC did a piece on it, and I want to show you that video. But I'm not sure how I even feel about this, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Watch the video and help me figure this out.
The Canadian couple who sparked a firestorm of controversy because they are keeping their 4-month-old baby's gender a secret after a week of heated debate over their decision to raise a genderless child. The parents are fighting back. Lindsay Davis is here with the story, a genderless child.
Very interesting story. Good morning to Biana. Kathy Witterick, Baby Storm's mother, has become defiant in the face of criticism. When we reached out to her and her husband for comment, we received an email from the mom who said, among other things, that the idea that the whole world must know what's between our baby's legs is unhealthy, unsafe, and voyeuristic. Baby Storm remains at the center of a firestorm. Well, not exactly the baby itself, but the parents' decision to keep the baby's private parts private.
It troubles me that this seems to be some sort of social experiment where they're using their child to send a message to everybody else. I think that's selfish.
Hundreds of people have sounded off online, posting things like, "I feel so sorry for this baby having such stupid parents," and "This little kid is being treated as a lab rat undergoing experiments." It all started when the Canadian couple told friends the baby's gender is not only none of the world's business, but that they're also not in a rush to reveal the child's identity to the child. Instead, their hope is that Storm will formulate his or her own definition of gender roles instead of the roles often pushed onto children by society. They called it then and choice in a place of limitation. Now they're blasting back at critics. In a letter to ABC News, Storm's mother, Kathy Witterick, said the strong, lightning-fast, vitriolic response was a shock, and she proceeded to defend their position. It is demonstrated in research and the day-to-day world that gender stereotyping causes suffering to both men and women, she said. She then went on to offer her 2- and 5-year-old sons as proof that children don't need sex taught to them in order to feel safe in the world. Both have been encouraged to shun gender norms. Jazz, for example, has long hair that he sometimes likes to wear in pigtails. And when Storm is old enough, he or she will get to have his or her own say. But many experts have serious concerns.
I applaud their overall goals here, but, this child is not asking to be this thing, and the parents are imposing this role on the child. This kid's being drafted into a war that may hurt him or her terribly.
Many psychologists suggest that children are not a blank slate, that they're predisposed to be certain ways. But the question then becomes, how much is gender identity influenced by socialization? In this case, it appears that society won't come into play very much. Even Storm's grandparents don't know the identity, whether their grandchild is a boy or girl. But it's an easy way to get out of diaper duty.
Well, it's quite an interesting way for them to express their freedom, as they say.
They won't be able to do it for very long.
That's true. Lindsay, thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. We want you to tell us what you think about this story. Go to our Good Morning America Facebook page or tweet us at GMA.
Okay, so I was a little mistaken. They have 2 sons. But I also remember reading in a few articles on the subject that their son Jazz, who wears the pigtails, was having some difficulties adjusting to school. and at times would tell his mother, make sure they know I'm a boy. Make sure you tell them I'm a boy because, you know, he likes being thought of as a boy, even though, you know, she doesn't want to raise him with any gender biases, which is fine. I mean, they're also doing something called unschooling, which is different than homeschooling, where they let the child's own curiosity form how and what they learn. They're trying some unusual things, and I'm still not sure how I feel about it. How do you feel about it? Would you do this with your children? Do you feel that there are constraints and there are biases in genders? I also wanted to show you a video of a show called The Young Turks. It's online. It's hosted by a man named Cenk Uygur, who has done some work on MSNBC, but apparently MSNBC, in their wisdom, decided he was a little too out there for them. This is a story about Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's a great haven for gay pride festivals. Brazil in general, Rio has Carnival every year, and it's a very flamboyant celebration. Well, some people don't find it so fun to be in Sao Paulo during gay pride, and Cenk decided to talk about the issue a little bit.
Sao Paulo, Brazil might have something known as a Heterosexual Pride Day, and they're doing this in response to Homosexual Pride Day, and it's a huge event that they have every year with nearly 3 million participants. It's a big deal, and they shut down one of the main roads in the city, right?
For Homosexual Pride Day.
For Homosexual Pride Day. Well, there's a heterosexual gentleman who claims he doesn't hate gay people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he says that it's important for heterosexuals to have their day as well. It's a great day to really look at or safeguard morals and good customs.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
As opposed to what kind of customs,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Right.
And he's mad because it turns out that his church also has some sort of weird festival, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the city doesn't allow them to use that main street. But the city allows the homosexuals to use the main street for their parade. He's like, what the hell? But I'm pretty sure 3 million people, I'm sure 3 million people don't participate in your church festival.
Exactly. So let's break this down. First of all, it's a matter of size. Size matters, right? And if your church has 3 million people, I guarantee you they'll shut down the main avenue for, your parade. Second of all, look, he says, well, if gays get to have their parade, why can't straight people have their parade? Because they are by far the majority. I hope you would agree, right? And so the majority doesn't really need a parade. Like, for example, I'm straight. Why do I need to go on a straight parade? Like, who's got, what do you got,
Because you want to celebrate morality and customs.
Anybody caught in a straight parade, I would question. You see what I'm saying? Like, who grabs a flag and is like, I am straight, I am straight. I'm
Marcus
like, all right,
Bachman.
God, okay.
Marcus Bachman is in the beginning of that parade,
Right.
like the very first person marching.
Like, okay, we see you.
Yeah.
We see you, right? And then the second part of this is, sometimes people in the majority get upset, like, oh, well, why do we celebrate Martin Luther King Day, but we don't celebrate the super white dude day, right? And et cetera. And they get all, why can, blacks do this and white can't? Listen, here's why, okay? Give you a perfect example. Like, I'm a Turkish American, right? So Turkish American days in America makes sense. You're a tiny minority. It doesn't make much sense, but nonetheless, they go and they celebrate, that they're proud of their heritage, yada, 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 right? A Turkish day in Turkey doesn't make sense, okay?
Right.
Now, here's what I mean. Like, sure, they celebrate Independence Day, yada, yada. Oh, they got all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like any country does. But if you did a big march through Istanbul saying Turks are the best, that would be some scary stuff, okay? Because that implies, since you're the overwhelming majority, it implies that there is something wrong with other folks.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, there are nationalistic parties in Turkey who are like, hey, Turks above all. And that's not a good thing. So you see what I'm saying? It depends on the context. The context here is we're a small minority and we're proud of our heritage. The context in Turkey would be, let's go crush the small minorities.
Right.
Right? So that's why, have some common sense. And it's not just enough to say, oh, well, if the homosexuals get it, we should get it too, right? So calm down with your Heterosexual Pride Day. And if you're really proud of being heterosexual, go get laid. Okay? That's the best way to celebrate.
I wanted to leave you today with a video from a friend of ours, Mr. George Takei, who is, in my estimation, one of the best gay people out there today.
Hi, I'm George Takei. A bill recently approved by a Tennessee Senate committee would prohibit teachers in that state from discussing homosexuality in the classroom. The so-called Don't Say Gay law is premised on the misguided belief that by not talking about gay people, they can simply make us disappear. I'm here to tell Tennessee and all LGBT youth and teachers who would be affected by this law that I am here for you. In fact, I'm lending my name to the cause. Anytime you need to say the word gay, you can simply say Takei. For example, you could safely proclaim you are a supporter of Takei marriage. If you're in a more festive mood, you can march in a Takei Pride Parade. Even homophobic slurs don't seem as hurtful if someone says, "That is so Takei." And around the holidays you can sing, "Don we now our Takei apparel." Speaking of apparel, I've created a t-shirt. It's okay to be Takei. I hope you wear it proudly. We also have buttons, mouse pads, and mugs, all in time for Takei Pride Month, and all proceeds go to charity. Thank you. And as they say on the Flintstones, have a Takei old time.
It's okay to be Takei. It's okay to be Takei. Takei, Takei, Takei. It's okay to be Takei. It's okay to be Takei.
And I know you've all been missing Ray. I've been missing him too. And since I had a couple seconds extra, I thought I'd share with you a video we made back in May at the university.
Apparently, all right, we are at the University of Arizona Library where we were working on a project and fortunately got right finished. Well, we had to grab everything because as you can hear the sirens and you can see the flashing lights, guess what? Fire! And we actually smelled the smoke before it happened. This is insane. Flashing lights. And ringing bells. Yeah. All in a day's adventure of us. Oh, here we go. Here we are. Okay. Fire truck. You saved all this? I saved everything. It's cool. Yeah. Okay, we're going to turn this off because our project is so sizzling hot. It set the library on fire. That's all I got to say. This is a crazy night. But you know what? I mean, but we're worth it. This will show up on another episode. You know that. That's right. Bye-bye.
Your eyes to me are precious stones on a face that's made of solid gold. When I hold your hand, I